Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope this video can make it a little bit better. Today we're going to be talking about the Lissandra adventure, kind of going over the pros and cons in my opinion, and also the expectations I had for the adventure and how the adventure actually turned out. Now I haven't beaten it with everyone yet, but I have been grinding it both on stream and off stream. As you've noticed if you've been watching my channel, I've just been pumping out all the different Lissandra videos, played it quite a few times, spent many hours, and have a pretty good feeling for the challenge and just wanted to talk about it with you all. Before we get into it though, I have a really special announcement for the monthly challenges. So we've been streaming the monthlies over on our stream, and this month we are trying out something really special that I think is going to make it a much more exciting and enjoyable viewing experience for everyone. We are creating a system so that you, the viewers, will be able to directly influence what champions and what builds I go with for the entire set of challenges. So you'll be able to pick what champion I play for what specific challenge. So you could really sabotage me if you would want, where maybe you pick Aurelian Soul for like challenge 1, so essentially wasting that run, just going to make it more difficult for me later. Or you completely counter pick me into a challenge with a champion that is just absolutely awful there, or maybe just really want to see me play a champion with a specific build, and you'll be able to do that as well. Now there's going to be two different ways that people will be able to interact. One, people can directly donate if they want, and they'll be able to choose what champion I pick and potentially what build I play with. But if you don't have the money to spare, then we're also going to use viewer rewards. So just by watching the channel, you'll get points, and you'll be able to redeem those points to do the exact same thing people can do with donating. I want everyone to be able to participate, even if they don't have the money to directly donate to the stream. I think this should be a lot of fun, so definitely come and check out the stream. We're going to be streaming every single day until we finish the monthly challenges, and the monthlies start tomorrow, and we stream at 9 a.m. Eastern. There'll be a link to the Twitch channel down below, and if you can't catch the streams, we'll be making clips as well as just uploading the VODs on some of our other channels. You'll definitely be able to watch the monthlies and all the craziness that will ensue, even if you can't directly watch the streams live. Really excited about testing this out, and I look forward to all the fun and crazy times we can have together. But enough about that, let's get into kind of the overview of the Lissandra adventure. So let's first touch on the expectations that I had for this adventure. I thought it was going to be difficult. That was pretty obvious. But I also thought they were going to try to punish a lot of the more like meta or aggro decks, like all the current S tier champions. Thought they were really going to try to shake things up, so somewhat punish those and enable a lot of the slower, more ramp decks to be able to be viable. Now, how did that actually turn out in reality? Didn't quite work. Most of the most OP champions are still overpowered and still the best picks, such as like LeBlanc and Diana's pretty good. Now they did punish like Jinx pretty heavily. If Lissandra has I Am Inevitable, then every time you play anything on Jinx, you're just buffing up something on the enemy board by 2/2, so that's pretty rough. So they did shut down Jinx pretty hard, sort of, if you get unlucky. And they didn't really help the slower decks unless they had a lot of control mechanics. For Lissandra, control is really the new meta. All the control champions are very, very good into her, and they can just shut down a lot of what Lissandra and the entire adventure kind of does. So that is at least fun. It did shake up the meta in that regard, and spoilers for the upcoming tier list that I'm eventually going to put out once I get everyone through Lissandra. All the control champions are going to be very high in the new tier list for Lissandra. Kind of hit a lot of my expectations, but not exactly in some of the ways I anticipated. But that's what happens with expectations. Not everything is going to meet that. Now, in actuality, what did the adventure do really well? So it is very difficult. They definitely nailed that. Even with having like all the epic relics, still very difficult. And even when constellations come out, I think it will still be a challenge. So they definitely nailed that aspect of it. And it also feels very different than any other challenge or adventure we currently have. So I think that's also really good. The way it feels different is going to be pretty subjective. So what they've done is they've really reined back on a lot of the champion upgrades you can get, as well as the powers you can get throughout the entire run. So for this run, for Lissandra, you're normally only going to get like 2 to 3 powers throughout the entire course of the adventure, where like Aurelian Soul, you could get double that, if not more. So some people really don't like that change, and I understand that. They also changed up the shops, and they're essentially the same shops as you get in the monthly challenges. So no powers, but strong item upgrades for your cards, and potentially really good cards in the shop. So you're still able to try to power up. You're just, again, more focused on your cards themselves and not like powers or champion upgrades as much. So some people are really going to like this. Some people really don't. In my opinion, it's not really a pro or a con. It's just going to be down to your personal preference. But it does help make this adventure feel really different than any other adventure we currently have. That's about it, in my opinion, as far as the pros. Let's talk about some of the cons for the adventure. So up first, inconsistent difficulty. Now, Lissandra herself, if she gets I Am Inevitable, the power where every time one of her units takes damage, it gets 2/2. If she has that, she is so much more powerful than any other legendary modifier she can get. So that alone is massively inconsistent as far as difficulty. But then throughout the entire course of the adventure, there are some combinations that just feel blatantly unfair. So, for example, in the Aurelian Soul adventure, pretty much the worst possible combination you could get would be Duplicate Zed at the very end of the adventure, because they would have more mana then. They can play Zed round 1, he'd get duplicated, and they potentially start with the attack token, so they could just immediately attack and kill you round 1. And for a lot of decks, there's pretty much nothing you could do to stop this. And it just felt like, okay, you lost the game on no fault of your own, just bad luck. That was bad in the Aesol adventure. In the Lissandra adventure, there's like many different times where something similar can happen, where you just feel like you had bad luck and you lost the game because of that. It doesn't matter skill at all. And this is really the main issue with the Lissandra adventure. Both winning and losing often feels like it just comes down to luck and not really down to skill, which is pretty bad in my opinion. Been a lot of times where it's like, man, you had a great combination, great set of powers, but the enemy just like completely counters you and there's literally nothing you can do to stop this. And so for me, often the game ends up feeling more frustrating than fun, especially the Lissandra adventure herself. Often I'll have a run where I go through, I have a blast, have a fun time clearing the entire thing, I get to Lissandra, and then sometimes even after I win, it just feels like it was a frustrating fight and not actually fun or rewarding, which I feel like really hits the mark. When you beat someone that tough, should be like really rewarding and feel awesome. And that's not really happening for me, at least not anymore. Now that could be an issue that for me, I don't actually have any rewards for beating Lissandra anymore. I have already got the first 5 wins. And so winning doesn't really reward me other than the bragging rights of being able to win. So that could also be influencing it. But I just know with my experience of defeating Lissandra, which I'm sure many of you have noticed if you've been watching a lot of the streams or videos I've been putting out, quite often I end the run just feeling frustrated, even if I win, which isn't the best in my opinion. And yeah, I really dislike the fact that it often feels like it just comes down to luck and not skill, which shouldn't be the case in these types of games. But that's how the Lissandra adventure has felt for me, and I know that's just my personal opinion. So definitely let me know in the comments down below what you all think, if there's any of these points that you really agree with, or if there's some of these points that you disagree with. Let me know in the comments down below. I want this to be a great place we can just talk about the Lissandra adventure. Please keep things civilized and just put any constructive criticism if you have any. I know the developers put a lot of work into this, so it could be that a lot of other people are really enjoying it and just maybe it somewhat missed the mark for me. That being said, I do think that this adventure did hit a lot of the goals for this adventure, such as being very difficult and being something that people can keep coming back to regardless of how powerful their account gets and still have a decent challenge. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you enjoy all of my Path of Champions content, definitely like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you all in the live streams. Have a great day.